You know what? We'll do 28 years later news right now. How about that? How about that? All right. Yeah, we got it up. So why not? Okay. The latest on 28 years later. And by the way, guys, man, I started doing updates for this property back in 2015. And man, I was getting tons of freaking views and questions about this movie. And it was back then it was called 28 Months Later. And people were actually getting mad at me like I had something to do with the movie, that there weren't any like new updates for years. And I had to go. I was like, hey, look, guys, I'm just giving you anything new that I find. I don't have anything to do with the movie. So now we're finally getting some news over the last couple months that it's going to happen. And Cillian Murphy even wants to be in it. Now, I don't know if it's confirmed that he's in it yet. Maybe he'll make a surprise appearance. But reading this, Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are reteaming for the long-awaited sequel to 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, titled 28 Years Later, which plans to kick off a brand new trilogy. I don't know if they should do that. You know, one movie at a time. Why are they going to kick off a new trilogy? Unless they got some really great ideas. But I will say Alex Garland, man, in terms of making films about human behavior and the human condition, I think he's one of the best directors working today. In most of his movies, I think they create a conversation. And I think that's why a lot of his movies can be a bit controversial, because I remember after like Annihilation came out, especially after Men came out, and of course now after Civil War came out, there's always this, you know, kicking up dirt of a conversation of some people, they get a little upset with what his movies might be saying in their mind. But what I like about him is he doesn't spell out what he's saying. You know, and I think those are the best filmmakers, that they just kind of put out the information in front of you, and you can have your own personal opinion about what he is presenting. You know, he's not making any grand statements. The characters in his movies are having things happen to them, you know, and it just definitely causes a reaction with the audience. And that's why I love his filmmaking, you know. And it takes guts to be that type of filmmaker, I think, especially these days. Deadline reports tonight that Nia DaCosta, Candyman in the Marvels, is now in talks to direct the planned second installment in the 28 Years Later trilogy from Sony Pictures. I'll give it I liked Candyman. I did. I liked Candyman. The Marvels was horrible. So I'm kind of 50-50 on this, but I do think Nia DaCosta didn't have a lot of control over the marbles. They should have called it marbles. But you know what? I think she's got a definite visual eye, and I think that could suit 28 Years Later. And she's not writing it, not to knock her writing skills, but I'm just saying she's a really good director. So with Alex Garland and team writing this, then it might come out great. It might come out great. Last we heard, Garland will write the first film and Boyle will return to direct. That's a big bonus too. Danny Boyle directing this movie? Hell yeah. Deadline notes in their new report tonight, while exact dates are unknown, sources say the plan is for Boyle to direct the first one later this year, with the second film immediately after the first shoot, which is why the studio is moving fast to lock in that second director. This way, the directors can get on the same page on where they see the story, while also bringing their own unique visions for each film. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, with Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, I'll welcome a trilogy. We'll see how it goes. Cillian Murphy is on board as executive producer. The original movie in 2002 starred Cillian Murphy, and it was also written by Alex Garland and directed by Danny Boyle. And man, that first movie was quite I think it reinvented the zombie genre, even though a lot of people don't call them zombies, and maybe they're not. It's more of an affection. But I think, for lack of a better word, the genre, you know, call it zombie, call it whatever, it revitalized it. And from that point on, we were getting so many zombie movies because of 28 Weeks Later. But again, human condition. That's really what 28 Weeks Later and 28 Days Later is all about. And I mean, this goes back to George Romero. You know, that's really what Night of the Living Dead was, the human condition and how we will quickly turn on each other when the shit hits the fan, you know? It's like the Joker said. When it hits the fan, they'll eat each other. And I think zombie movies prove that point better than any other subgenre. What's up, guys? You are at the middle of the video. Don't go anywhere. There's still plenty of content ahead of you, but just wanted to break right here to say you are at Drumdums Xtra, my second channel. If you like my main channel and you're not subscribed, I would urge you to subscribe to this channel, okay? Because this is where I do a lot of my horror updates and whatnot. I moved all that stuff over to here, and it's more of a live stream type feel. I am working really hard on this channel, just as hard as I am on the other channel. You'll see at least 3 or 4 videos a week, and most of it's like horror news, topical type stuff. Got some rankings on there and whatnot. The main channel's still the main channel, but this is more for this type of content. So anyway, guys, back to the video, and subscribe, damn it. So yeah, if you haven't seen Wildcats, I have the VHS back there, actually. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Okay, next one. Scary movie reboot. This is the other news that I'm not going to go open that up and read through it and everything. I think you know everything you need to know. Just the idea that they're talking about a scary movie reboot again. Sure, I don't have a problem with that coming out. I love the first 2 scary movies. They're a blast. And could scary movie work in this day and age? I don't see why not. I don't know. I guess we could see. But somebody posted Melissa Barrera has the opportunity to do the funniest shit ever. And boy, there's no way she would ever do that. Melissa Barrera is coming back to the Scream franchise. I'm telling you that right now, okay? That's happening. So I don't think she would jeopardize that by being in Scary Movie, right? And I don't think they would ask her to do that anyway, you know? That's a wasted ask, I think. So, but I did review the first Scary Movie. I've always meant to do the second one, you know? I just love those movies to death. They're hilarious. And they really poke fun of not just Scream, but like other horror properties at the time. So that's why I'm kind of for this, because you could literally poke fun at, you know, the horror landscape today. And I think they definitely have a golden opportunity to do like movies like Halloween Ends, because oh my God, the outrage over that movie would be perfect for Scary Movie. You know, anything that's like a buzz type movie would be perfect for a Scary Movie. So I say bring it on. I think it could be fun. You know, I saw some people getting butthurt about it. It's like, no, don't make another Scary Movie. As long as it's you got some good writers on there, it could be good. It could be good. We could see. Smile 2 details horror sequel will follow a pop star afflicted by the smile curse. That could be interesting. You know, and in terms of sequels, let me ask you guys a question before I get to reading on that, okay? In terms of sequels, do you prefer when the sequel feels very different than the first movie? Or do you prefer the sequel to feel like a continuation of the first movie, almost like the two could be married? And I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think as long as it's directed well, then you know, it can work either way. But you know, a great example is like Prom Night and Prom Night 2 feel completely different, but they're both, I think, just equally awesome, right? And sometimes I like when they change things up in the sequel, and you know, they surprise you. I think there's more of an opportunity for surprises when they change it up. But and I think an example of a bad continuation would be like, say, The Descent Part 2. You know, on paper, those two movies, and plot-wise, they look like a perfect continuation of it, and they're almost the same movie. But The Descent Part 2 is really bad, you know, and maybe that's because they tried a little bit too hard to tell the same story, right? And I think that the logic of Sarah going back down there was kind of ridiculous. So I kind of like when they change things up and maybe you have a complete new batch of characters. And I think it depends on the property too. I think for Smile, I don't need the same characters to come back. Yeah, it is nice when the same characters come back, but I don't need them to come back, right? So let's read this story. And yeah, Destiny, The Descent 2 definitely blows. It blows chunks. It's really horrible. I can't even watch it again. I think I've watched it like once. They had the freaking creatures dookie in the like they showed their dookie hole, pretty much their dookie pond, and like really you're gonna show that? Like we can use our imaginations, okay? We don't need to, it's like taking Predator and showing Predator taking a dump in the woods. Like, do we need to see that? Stupid, just stupid. All right, and, you know, you got characters down in the dookie pond and Dookie's just like, you know, landing next to them. It's like, what? That just takes the human emotion out of the picture, right? Dookie Pond. All right, I said it. Paramount's hit horror movie Smile gets a sequel this Halloween with returning director Parker Finn's Smile 2, and the first plot details have made their way out of Paramount's CinemaCon presentation this afternoon. First footage from the upcoming sequel was shown off at the event, but unfortunately it's not yet being released for the rest of us online. Now, is it coming out this year? I think it is coming out. I think Smile 2 is coming out this year. Let's read on. The good news, a whole bunch of websites, including Slash Film, were on hand at CinemaCon this week, so we've at least got a Smile 2 footage description to work with for now. The teaser footage from Smile 2 that played at CinemaCon was focused on the new character played by Naomi Scott, a music celeb whose glamorous world is about to get dragged to hell. After a few glimpses of her pop star performances, the footage showed Scott's character getting a shock when a man, played by Lucas Gage, breaks into her dressing room and smiles creepily at her. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Elsewhere in the footage, the website's description of the CinemaCon footage continues. She is confronted by a kid with braces who flashes her a similar malevolent smile. So I'm not going to read any more of that because I'd like to be surprised when I see the trailer. But this is what I'm talking about. I like the idea of changing, like kind of like the collection, you know, from the collector. The collection felt very different, but still the same, you know. They put it in a new, they kind of opened it up story-wise, and it started off in this nightclub, which maybe down the line we'll have to do best nightclub scenes in horror movies. That's irresistible. But, yeah. So, are you guys looking forward to Smile 2?